I, 42 female, have a sister, Emily, 38 female, who has always been the golden child of our family. Growing up, Emily was treated like a princess. Our parents practically worshipped the ground she walked on. She was beautiful, charming, and had this natural charisma that made everyone gravitate toward her. Meanwhile, I was the older, more responsible sibling. I've always been the one who quietly handled my responsibilities, while Emily was free to do whatever she pleased. It started early. When we were kids, Emily would throw tantrums if she didn't get her way, and instead of disciplining her, my parents would cave in. If she wanted a new toy, she got it. If she didn't want to do chores, they let her off the hook. I remember how as a teenager, I had to work part-time to save up for a car, while Emily got one as a gift for her 16th birthday. That was just the way it was. Our family revolved around her wants and needs. Despite this, I loved my sister. She was my baby sister after all, and I tried to overlook how spoiled she was. But as we grew older, it seemed clear that Emily's entitlement wasn't just a phase. It was a fundamental part of who she was. She believed the world owed her everything. She never took responsibility for her actions, and when things didn't go her way, she always found someone to blame. Our parents never held her accountable for anything, and because of that, she never learned how to be a responsible adult. Emily's entitlement carried over into her relationships. By her mid-20s, she had 3 children with 2 different men, both of whom were out of the picture not long after the kids were born. Lily, now 20 female, Noah, now 18 male, and Sophie, now 17 female, were all beautiful, bright children. But Emily treated them as accessories to her life, rather than people she was responsible for. She was constantly chasing her next fling, or trying to start a new career, never sticking to one thing for too long. She had no stable job, no real direction, and no desire to settle down. It was heartbreaking to watch, especially since I had always wanted children, but struggled with infertility. I vividly remember the day everything changed. It was about 12 years ago, and Emily called me out of the blue. I hadn't spoken to her in a while. She'd been busy finding herself, as she liked to call it. Her voice was flat, emotionless, as she told me she was moving across the country and wouldn't take the kids with her. I was shocked. She wasn't asking for help or seeing if I could pitch in temporarily. She was telling me, as though I had no say in the matter, that she was done being a mother and I needed to take over. She said she needed to focus on herself and that she wasn't cut out for motherhood. I was livid, but what could I do? I wasn't about to let my nieces and nephew end up in the foster care system. Lily was only 8, Noah was 6, and Sophie was just 5. They had already been through so much instability with Emily's chaotic lifestyle. They needed stability, love, and a proper home. So, without much hesitation, I agreed to take them in. That night, I became an instant parent to 3 children. To say it was an adjustment would be an understatement. I had never been a mother, and suddenly, I had 3 traumatized kids who needed more than I could have ever imagined. Lily, being the oldest, was angry all the time. She knew her mother had abandoned her, and she hated Emily for it. Noah, on the other hand, was quiet and withdrawn, keeping all his pain inside. And little Sophie was still clinging to the hope that her mom would come back and everything would go back to normal. I spent countless nights holding them while they cried, trying to reassure them that they were loved, that they were safe, and that I wasn't going anywhere. But it was hard. Financially, I was struggling. I had a decent job, but raising 3 kids on my own was expensive. I had to take on extra hours at work and cut back on personal luxuries to make ends meet. Every penny I earned went toward school supplies, groceries, clothing, and anything else the kids needed. There were times when I wasn't sure how I was going to make it all work, but somehow I did. Emily, meanwhile, was living it up on the other side of the country. She bounced from one city to the next, never holding down a job for long, always in some new relationship. She would send birthday cards or call on holidays, but that was the extent of her involvement. She never once offered financial help, never apologized for abandoning her kids, and never acknowledged the burden she had placed on me. It was as if she had wiped her hands clean of the whole situation and moved on, leaving me to pick up the pieces. Years went by, and slowly, the kids started to heal. Lily channeled her anger into school and became an excellent student. Noah opened up more, finding joy in sports and making friends. Sophie, despite everything, remained the most optimistic of the three, always hoping for the best in people. We became a family, one built on trust and love. During this time, I kept encouraging the kids to stay in contact with their mother, even though Emily rarely made an effort. I didn't want to be the reason they lost touch with her. But as they grew older, they began to see her for who she really was, someone who only cared about herself. Emily would pop in and out of their lives, making grand promises that she never kept. Each time, the kids were hurt all over again, and each time, I was the one who had to pick up the pieces. By the time Lily turned 18, she had no interest in having a relationship with Emily. Noah and Sophie followed suit. They were tired of being let down, tired of the broken promises and the lies. I never badmouthed Emily to them, but I didn't need to. They saw the truth for themselves. Fast forward to today. Lily is now 20 and studying to become a teacher. Noah just started university, and Sophie is in her final year of high school. They are amazing young adults, kind, hardworking, and thoughtful. They know the sacrifices I made for them, and they've expressed their gratitude in ways that always bring me to tears. A few months ago, the three of them sat me down and said they wanted to do something for me. At first, I didn't understand what they were getting at, but then they told me that they had been saving up money. Between part-time jobs, scholarships, and a small inheritance from their paternal grandparents, they had managed to put together around $10,000. They wanted to give it to me as a thank you for everything I had done for them over the years. I was speechless. I never expected anything in return for raising them. I did it out of love, because I wanted to give them the life they deserved. But they were insistent. They said they knew how much I had sacrificed, how many things I had given up for their sake, and they wanted me to use the money for myself. They made me promise I wouldn't spend it on them or on household expenses, but on something just for me, something fun or indulgent. It was one of the most touching moments of my life. I was overwhelmed with their generosity and their love. After some hesitation, I agreed to accept the money, with the promise that I'd use it for something that would bring me joy. However, a few weeks after this, Emily found out about the money. I'm not sure how. Maybe one of the kids mentioned it on social media, or perhaps word just got around. But Emily called me out of the blue, absolutely furious. She demanded to know why she hadn't been given any of the money. She said, "I'm their mother. I gave birth to them. If they're giving anyone money, it should be me." I was stunned. Emily, the woman who abandoned her children and left me to raise them, was demanding their money because she felt entitled to it by virtue of being their biological mother. She went on and on about how she had sacrificed her body and her youth to have them, and how she deserved their financial help more than I did. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I calmly explained to her that the kids were old enough to make their own decisions, and that they had chosen to give the money to me as a thank you for raising them. I reminded her that I had been the one who stayed, who provided for them, who raised them into the wonderful young adults they were. She, on the other hand, had been absent for most of their lives. If she wanted money from them, she could ask them herself, but I doubted they would agree given how little she had been involved. Emily completely lost it. She accused me of turning her kids against her, of brainwashing them into thinking I was their real mother. She said I had always been jealous of her, and now I was using the kids to get back at her for being the favorite. She insisted that the money rightfully belonged to her because she was their mother by birth, and that I had no right to it. I told her point blank that I had done nothing but encourage the kids to maintain a relationship with her, and that if they had chosen to distance themselves, that was on her, not me. I told her that I didn't steal her kids. She abandoned them, and I stepped up because she wouldn't. But Emily wasn't having any of it. She continued to scream at me, calling me selfish and vindictive, and accusing me of taking advantage of her children's love to punish her. Now, Emily has started rallying our mom and some of our extended family members behind her. They've started calling and messaging me, saying that while Emily made mistakes, she's still their mother, and that I should understand that the money should have gone to her. They're accusing me of being selfish for accepting it, saying that I've always resented Emily for being the golden child, and that I'm now using the kids to get back at her. I'm starting to doubt myself. I never wanted to come between Emily and her children. I only wanted to give them the love and stability they needed. I always encouraged them to keep in touch with her, even when she didn't make an effort. And now I'm being painted as the villain for accepting a gift from the kids I raised, when their biological mother wasn't around. So, Reddit. Am I the a-hole for accepting money from my sister's children after I raised them, even though my sister believes she deserves it more because she gave birth to them? Update. After reading through the comments, I realized that I needed to have an honest conversation with the kids about what's been happening with Emily. I sat them down, explained everything she had said, and asked them how they felt about it. To say they were furious would be an understatement. Lily, in particular, was livid. She said that Emily has no right to ask for anything after abandoning them, and that she had made her choice when she walked away. Noah and Sophie agreed, saying they had no intention of giving Emily anything, and that the money was theirs to give to whomever they wanted. They reassured me that the money was meant for me, and that they wouldn't have given a single cent to Emily even if she had asked. Hearing that from them was a huge relief. I was starting to feel guilty, like maybe I was overstepping by accepting the money. But they made it clear that they wanted to do this for me, as a thank you for everything I had done for them. In the end, I've decided to keep the money and use it exactly as the kids intended, for something fun. I'm planning a small vacation for myself, something I hadn't been able to do in years. I've spent so long putting everyone else's needs before my own, and it's time I do something just for me. As for Emily, I've decided to go no contact for the time being. I've blocked her number and stopped responding to her messages. I'm tired of the drama, tired of the guilt trips, and tired of being painted as the villain in her narrative. I don't owe her anything, least of all the money that her children gave to me out of love and appreciation. I can't believe the audacity of OP's sister. The gall of her to demand money from the children she abandoned because she gave birth to them? Seriously? She checked out of their lives a long time ago, and it sounds like she's just upset she's not getting a payday now that they're old enough to be successful. I'm so glad OP stood up to her. The fact that OP's nieces and nephew are thriving and feel grateful enough to offer OP money speaks volumes about the kind of person OP is. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. As a mother, reading your story broke my heart. You stepped up when your sister abandoned her kids, and you gave them the life they deserved. The fact that they recognize your sacrifices and want to thank you with this gesture speaks volumes about the love and stability you gave them. Your sister's behavior is appalling. She may have given birth to them, but she didn't raise them. You did. That's what matters. If she wants money, she can go out and get a job instead of trying to manipulate her kids into giving her theirs. Enjoy that vacation, OP. You earned it. Your sister reminds me so much of mine. Some people really believe that just because they birthed children, they're entitled to everything those kids achieve or have later in life. You're definitely not the a-hole. You sacrifice so much to give those kids a stable home. Your sister needs a serious reality check if she thinks she deserves a reward for abandoning her own children. The fact that your extended family is siding with her just shows how deep this golden child syndrome runs. You have every right to go no contact and protect your peace. So, I had a fiancé, 24 female, and I just knew she was the woman I'd spend my life with. She was great in every way. Her and my sister clicked greatly, and they became best friends, which was huge for me because my sister and I were best friends as well. So, we'd go on double dates with her and her now husband. I found out my fiancé was cheating on me and blew up on her. She cried and said the usual stuff, but I was destroyed and called off our engagement and broke up with her. She ended up getting in a relationship with her affair partner, which stands till this day. Afterwards, before I blocked my ex on everything as I simply forgot, I saw her post on Facebook a picture of her new boyfriend happily hanging out with my sister and her then fiancé. I got angry at my sister and told her I thought it was wrong for her to do that. I know that she's a grown woman, but I thought that she would be mad at her too, especially since we are so close. I mean, we are twins. She tried to explain to me that she loves me more than anyone, but that she cherishes her friendship with my ex and didn't want to let either of us go. I ignored her after that, and she called me. We went back and forth, her trying to plead with me and me angrily refusing to see her point of view. I then told her, "Have fun with your new friendship. Don't contact me again. I'm done with you," and then blocked her and my ex on everything. Since then, I've moved from our old apartment and have gotten a new one, and changed my number. My father and a few trusted friends have this info and have been instructed not to give it to my sister. My father had been telling me that my sister had been distraught and wanting to talk to me, but I was pretty adamant that I didn't want to. He obliged. Then she called me on a new number and told me she was getting married and that she would love for me to be there. I was ecstatic at first. Then I remembered my ex and asked if she and her new boyfriend would be there, to which she replied that she was going to be a bridesmaid and that the boyfriend would be there. I then told her that as of now, we are both only children. A little harsh, but I was angry, and hung up the phone and blocked the number. They are married now, but my dad tells me that she is visibly distressed and that he's afraid it will take a toll on her marriage. I don't want this to happen, but I am in no way over any of this. I still feel betrayed twice and don't really want to see her at all. My biggest thing is that when she was cheated on by her college boyfriend, who I became friends with, I scolded him and comforted her. But when I get heartbroken by my fiancé and soon-to-be wife, she feels like it's okay to mingle with her and the guy who helped break us up. It's as if I don't matter, and although I love her to death, I feel a lot of hatred towards her right now. So guys, what should I do? Should I reach out or wait until I feel better? Part of me thinks the latter, but I want to know how you guys feel. Look, I have a sibling that I love and was once close to as well, but there are certain lines that cannot so easily be uncrossed. So I get that, and this situation is looking like one of those times. Your sister's extremely cavalier attitude towards someone hurting her own brother in such an intimate way is a very real, very personal betrayal. Frankly, in my opinion, it's worse, because the shock of someone, especially a close sibling, one has known for the entirety of their life, suddenly becoming an unsafe place to find peace with when that's all you've ever been to each other before, is gut-wrenching. But it's especially awful if you find this out during a time when everything else is spiraling out of control. A time when you would give anything for them to be someone you could trust. The situation between the two of you, which your sister has created, with her decision to continue to place the person who wronged you within a position of priority above you in her life, then to actually have the gall to ask you to be anywhere near okay with that, and then to attempt to coerce you through circumstances which she herself had coordinated, re. the wedding, to be in close proximity to not only your ex-fiancé, but also the partner with whom she very recently cheated on you with, is so breathtakingly disrespectful and belittling of every single thing that you are experiencing in regards to this situation. She has clearly and without a second thought actively worked to ensure her own comfort with this outcome, rather than your own. She seems to be invested in a future version of you, where you and your ex slot neatly into her life as cozy friends with her at the center of it all. And to get to this idyllic future in her imaginings, she's more than willing to overlook just how badly you have been wounded by this. Your sister has absolutely no right to make this about herself, but she believes she does, and that's a problem. And because of this, even if you did forgive her tomorrow and sweep this whole situation with her under the rug, how could you ever trust her to not constantly set up surprise encounters between you and your ex? Would you trust her to give you the space and time you need to heal? Which isn't to downplay what you are experiencing at the betrayal of your ex-fiancé. The ease and speed with which she pursued that other relationship is very telling. And that knowledge, combined with the fact that this was the person who you believed to be planning a future with you, is staggering. I'm really sorry, OP. This situation sucks. For whatever it's worth, I don't believe any goodwill will come of reestablishing a relationship with your sister until you gain more emotional distance from the situation with your ex. Because it seems as if your sister has made herself, your ex, and the man your ex cheated on you with, a package deal. Update. I found out from my brother-in-law that my sister knew about the affair and kept it a secret. He said that it's been affecting their marriage because he's been questioning her loyalty and her ability to lie, and that he only found out after she admitted to him one day when she broke down about it. I then called my dad. He began to try to defend her, saying maybe she didn't want to hurt my feelings and I should still forgive her. I hung up and drove top speed to my sister's house. When I knocked on the door, she opened it smiling, trying to give me a big hug, and I avoided it. I'm assuming he didn't tell her about our conversation. Immediately I asked, "Did you know about the affair?" and her eyes opened wide. I started to shake and tear up and have an anxiety attack as I asked her again. She started crying and said she did, and that she knew it was wrong, but she just didn't know what to do. She didn't want to hurt me, but she didn't want to lose her BFF, and asked how I knew. In short, I lost it. I saw red. I first lied and said that I've had a lot of time to think, and realized that had to be the reason. Didn't want to trouble their marriage any more than it already is. And I told her I will never speak to her again, and that the only time she will ever see me is if I die first and she attends the funeral. Then stormed out. This may have been cruel, and like I said before in the comments section, I'm actually never like this. I've never berated my sister, outside of childish petty arguments we had growing up that we always got over in 10 minutes or less. I was just highly emotional and felt betrayed. I changed my number again and only talked to my work friends. The only info my dad knew was my old new number. I didn't make that clear last time, so he doesn't know where my new place is. Right now, my plan is to save up enough money and move across the country and start a new life. Go ghost from my family. I understand that I'm still very angry and the plan might change. Maybe when I calm down, I'll just go complete no contact with my sister and rebuild with my dad. I'm not sure. But I don't want anything to do with either of them at all right now. So there's that. I have been married to Mike for 2 years, no kids. Mike's work partner, Samantha, who he is very close friends with, has a sister named Joan. I found out a few months ago that my husband and Joan had been sleeping together for 6 months and that he was in love with her. He hid this from me and from Samantha, who still does not know. I filed for divorce and we are in the process. We just learned that Joan has been K in a terrible way. My husband is devastated and now has no one. I haven't talked to him, but a mutual friend tells me he's not in a good place. I'm worried about him and about Samantha, who just lost her sister and has no idea about the affair. I have no idea what to do in this situation, if anything. So obviously, I have to at the very least send a card, but that feels so impersonal. However, I'm afraid of the affair coming out if I speak to her in person, and I don't want to be the one to tell her that her sister lied to her about it. I also don't know how or if I should reach out to my ex-husband. I need help. Let your husband grieve on his own. Your presence is going to make things more complicated for him. He might latch onto you or get angry, and you don't want to trudge through that minefield. You should send Samantha a card because you guys are acquaintances, even though you guys were closer before. It's an appropriate way to send your condolences. Don't overthink this. I think these are two separate issues. Do not reach out to your husband. You owe him nothing. He was cheating on you behind your back for months. I probably wouldn't do anything at all, since by the sound of things, you aren't really friends anymore. At most, send a card. As selfish as it may seem, you need to focus on yourself and moving on from your ex-husband and the life you used to share with him. Me and Katie, fake name, were best friends since our senior of high school. I love her as my own sister. She is dating the perfect guy. He is the type of guy that every girl needs in their life. I don't really like guys. He does everything for her and really tries to support their 3-year relationship. I love him as a friend. He is really fun to hang out with, and that's why it makes me confused about her affair. Anyway, Katie told me 3 months ago about her affair, and I was really mad. I kept asking her why, but then she gave me a dumb answer like, "I'm still young and need to have fun." She thought I would support her and was really sad when I didn't. I ducking hate cheating. Unless you are being held at gunpoint to cheat, there is no possible reason. I would tell him, but this is not my relationship. My mom and my grandma always taught me to mind my own business and to stay out of people's relationships. People get mad at you when you tell them about their significant other. That's why I don't want to get involved either way. I'm not telling her boyfriend, and I'm never helping with her affair. Every time she tries to show me a picture or tells me about him, I tell her I don't want to hear it. She even brought him to a dinner date that was just for the two of us. I didn't even want to shake his hand. He was trying to talk to me and introduce himself, but I gave him one-word answers like, Yeah, and okay. That was like 2 months ago. That same day, I called her and told her to stop trying to get me into her affair. I don't like it. I'm not getting blamed for helping you if your boyfriend finds out. If you do it again, I will stop talking to you. She agreed not to. Last night, me and Katie were in the mall shopping and talking. We had a fun day, but when we got home, it happened. I was dropping her off in front of her house, and then she started crying. This is kinda how our conversation went. Me: "What's wrong?" Katie: "I'm pregnant." "It's not your boyfriend's, right?" "No, and he is making me feel bad." "How?" Her affair partner name: "Knows, and he told me to tell my boyfriend that I found a better man to be with. And if I don't in 2 weeks, he is sending videos and pictures to him. I don't know what to do." "Why does he care?" "He wants to be married and be a part of the kid's life. Please, I know you don't want to get involved, but I really need your help. I love both of them, and I don't want to change anything. Katie, I love you, but there is no possible way to get out of this. I'm not helping you, but I support anything you decide. Are you ducking with me? You can't help me with anything? I always help you, especially when it comes to dating." She set me up with my now girlfriend. "I'm not ducking asking you to K anyone. I just want you to talk to both of them. You really can't do that for me? Why am I fixing something you did? I didn't make you cheat on your boyfriend. I am not your mom. Go be a grown woman and fix crap yourself. I already told you many times I'm not going to be involved in this affair in any way because I don't want anyone to think I was helping you." It was like that, but longer. Before she got out of the car, she called me a real B and a ducking backstabber. She is blowing up my phone, saying how I'm ducking fake and a B. I'm not answering her. She can have her little tantrum. I don't feel bad because I told her this many times before, but she is pregnant and in a hard place right now, and I still love her to death. I don't know. I want to help, but I'm not the type to be in other people's BS. Being quiet means you approve of their relationship, which you say you don't, but actions talk louder than words. You did nothing, so she thought one day you would be okay with her affair. I really don't understand how people can be best friends with cheaters and love them to death. They lie to the most important person in their life and do things that will hurt them. How do you really believe they won't do it to you one day? How do you trust her? How can you tell you love her to death, even after showing you her true colors? I am sincerely curious about the answer to these questions. How can you say you love this guy as a friend when you are watching him being cheated on while you are still going out having fun with his horrible girlfriend? Oh, but you are giving one-word answers to her affair partner. Wow. It's really true that birds of a feather flock together. OP keeps insisting that she is not involved in the affair, yet she knows all these dirty details and has literally met the guy and talked to him. She's knee-deep involved whether she wants to admit it or not. OP, your mother raised you incorrectly if you didn't think it's proper to tell the boyfriend that he was being two-timed. Shame on all of you,